Hi everyone, welcome back. This month we're talking about how you actually become a financial advisor. I've had quite a few people ask me about this, so I thought it would be a good idea to show you my journey and how I became an independent financial advisor. I actually joined an IFA firm back in 2014. Up until that point, I hadn't even heard of an IFA. I had no idea what they were or what they did, but I took a position as an administrator at an independent financial advisor firm. It's a small firm. Even now, there's only 7 of us working there, but it's a really lovely place to work. And I started as an administrator, but I knew when I started there was the potential to do my training and to become an independent financial advisor. So as I said, when I started, I had no idea what that meant, what that entailed, but I learnt the ropes quite quickly, and I quite quickly found out that it was a job that I was really interested in, and I was really keen to further my knowledge and do some qualifications and become an IFA. The firm were happy to fund the qualifications. They can be quite expensive, so I was really lucky that they were going to do that for me. And the route that I took was through the Chartered Insurance Institute, the CII, and it was a series of exams called the RO exams. There were 6 exams, RO1 to RO6. The end result was that you could gain a diploma in regulated financial planning, which is what I achieved. Now, when I took the exams, you had to finish them within 30 months of passing the first exam. So once you pass the first exam, you have 2.5 years to complete all the others. They give you that deadline, I think, to keep your knowledge current and relevant. If you were to take, 3 or 4 years to do your exams, then you probably wouldn't be as knowledgeable as condensing it down into 2.5 years. So that's why they do it that way. I think now they've actually changed the deadlines. I think they're a little bit more lenient with how much time you have to complete your examinations. So it's a little bit more flexible if you need that flexibility. So all the exams I took, bar the last one, RO6, all the others were multiple choice exams. So it involved a textbook, several months of studying on my own time, and then a multiple choice exam where I had to go to a particular location and complete it at that location. So they were I don't want to say fairly straightforward, but they were tough to do. The way they were worded was quite challenging, and the Chartered Insurance Institute do love a double negative, so it's important that you read the questions more than once. But I completed those within the time frame, and by August 2017, I had completed my diploma. All the time I was studying, I was working full time, so that was quite challenging to do. But I did the studying all in my own time, and it really helped actually working at the firm at the same time, because I could learn on the job actually practically what it entails, and also I could ask the advisors that I worked with if I had any questions or needed any help with anything. So that was really beneficial, and definitely a route I would suggest if you can do it. Getting in as an administrator and learning the basics is a great foundation to becoming an independent financial advisor. You learn the compliance and the regulation right from the word go, and so that is with you from the very beginning. It also helps create really good habits that you should continue to adhere to when you become an IFA. When you pass your first exam, so RO1 is the exam that I did first, and that is the most basic level for the CII exams. You almost have to have that for almost any qualification that you do. Once you pass that, or once I'd passed that, I was allowed to advise as long as I was supervised, and my boss was my supervisor. Even today, he still is technically my supervisor, but every IFA has a supervisor within their firm. He would sit in on my meetings with me and just check that I was meeting certain requirements, but also help me out if I needed any help with anything, and also it was good for my knowledge and my confidence as well, having someone in the meetings that I knew I could ask if I needed help, or someone I knew who could step in and help out if he thought I needed it. I've been fully qualified since August 2017, and so no longer have direct supervisions as such. You still have to have files checked to make sure that you're meeting regulatory requirements, but any IFA will do that, or should be doing that. I'm no longer supervised so closely by my boss, but he does still run file checks occasionally on my files, as he does with all the other advisors in the firm. Any IFA should really be having their files compliance checked to make sure that they're adhering to compliance and regulatory standards. It's just good practice, and generally everyone should do it. Since I qualified, I've been passed a certain number of clients from our existing client bank in the firm. So I've taken them into my ongoing client bank and I service them on a regular basis. And I also now deal with all new inquiries into the firm. So any new inquiries we get, generally they would come straight to me unless that particular person has asked to speak to a particular advisor. Maybe they've been referred to a particular person in the firm by someone they know, and that's absolutely fine. But generally, if there's a new inquiry, that would come through to me. Once qualified, you have to keep up with continuing professional development requirements. As part of the CII, that means I have to complete at least 35 hours of continuing professional development every year. That can come in the form of seminars, webinars, meetings with product providers, anything that meets my learning objectives and builds on my knowledge of the industry and of the products that are out there. This is really important because the financial industry is changing so rapidly. There are new products all the time that come out, and it's really important to keep up to date with them so that you can give your clients the best and most up-to-date knowledge. If you do protection advice, so if you advise on life insurance, income protection, all that sort of thing, there is a new directive that you have to do 15 hours of insurance CPD within your 35 hours of general CPD. So that's another new requirement that's recently been brought in. You have to do those 35 hours a year, and you have to log them in a certain way, because every year you have to refresh a statement of professional standing with the CII. And that tells them that you've adhered to the CPD requirements, you've met certain requirements and certain ethics and standards that they have, and they review that and they'll sign you off every year. But you have to keep that up to date annually, otherwise you're not allowed to continue advising. I've been fully advising now for about 3 years. Since then I've also had a little girl, had a daughter as well, which has put studying a bit on the back burner for me, but I was always keen to go back to studying and to further my knowledge and just build on my qualifications. So I've recently taken steps to start to become chartered. Beyond having a diploma, you can take further qualifications to become chartered, and then beyond that, if you do want to, you can take further steps to become a fellowship of the CII. These are all quite challenging areas, obviously otherwise everyone would do them, but I'm really keen to get some further knowledge under my belt and just to really broaden my knowledge within the industry. So I'm currently taking steps at the moment to become chartered, although I do think that will take me a little bit longer than it did to get my diploma, especially with a little one running around. So I hope that's been helpful, just to let you know how I became an IFA and how my journey started and how I got to where I am today. If you've got any questions, please let me know, but otherwise like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.